Hey everybody! This week I'm going to be talking about Rainwings. This idea first occurred to me when I was working on the last WHATSISFACE I did, where I worked through some expressions. I spoke a little about how much I enjoy drawing Rainwings, and it's still true. Those little sketches kind of served to inspire this week's video. So, Rainwings. Kind of the wild card in Wings of Fire Dragon design, right? Any color, any body type, anything works. It makes them really fun to work with, and over time I've had some neat ideas about how to pair their written design with a visual representation that stays accurate. In the books, Rainwings are described as dragons that can change their scale color as much as they want, to the point of invisibility. Honestly, to me, this is their most interesting feature, even more so than Magic Death Spit. Of course, between the two, Rainwings are kind of terrifying, so it's probably a good thing that they're happy chilling in the rainforest, right? One of the first things that I always wonder about when I'm drawing or thinking about Rainwings, though, is their claws and horns. They can change their scales to become invisible, but to go fully invisible, they'd obviously need to change their claws and horns as well. So I've kind of begun to headcanon Rainwings with horns that aren't actually horns. If I was smarter, I'd be able to give you an actual name for this, but instead I'm going to try and describe it in the best way possible to someone like me who's dumb. So basically, what I'm thinking of is that instead of a horn or a claw that's like a longhorn horn, yeah, sorry, that's my text is showing, you'd have a horn closer to kind of like a bony thing with scales over it. I'm making this sound awful. It still looks like a horn, like in the drawings that I'm doing right now. But basically, it's the same thing with scales covering the rest of it, so that, like the rest of the Rainwing, they can still change the color. Same with the claws. They'd still be sharp and hard and stuff, but now my brain accepts the color change a little bit better. Hopefully that made sense. I feel like there's a lot of people concerned with my sanity right now. I swear it made sense in my head before I tried to explain it. Anyways, moving on from that. Another thing I do with Rainwings quite a lot is to change their scale type. I love the circle scales on the necks and the ridges on the face, but I often simplify them so that they're easier to draw and they take less time. Plus, I'll sometimes just do totally different scale designs. I'm honestly kind of a confusing artist because my style and preferences are all over the place, and I hardly have time to get comfortable with one technique before I get bored of it and move on to the next. It's always really funny looking through my files, though, because everything changes so often and so drastically. Sometimes I'll find a way of drawing scales and I'll think, oh, I'll never change this, I love it. And then lo and behold, I do something else and I never go back. Anyways, one of my favorite features about Rainwings are their ruffs. They're so expressive and pretty, and it's just a really cool little thing to put in. I've started drawing them a little differently lately, though, so instead of drawing all the little spines in the ruff, I kind of just draw the vague shape of it, like I did here in these pieces. This actually has less to do with headcanons and more to do with me finding the easiest way to produce art. Kind of like how I've been refusing to draw the wing fingers for ages. I think you'll find that a lot of the things I do in art are geared toward the easiest possible drawing experience that takes the least amount of time that I can possibly put into this. It's not because I don't care, I promise. It's just because, I don't want to say lazy, but time sensitive, let's use that word. Speaking of art though, let's talk about these pieces that I did for this video. So I wanted to draw a couple random Rainwings with my personal headcanons in mind. The horn thing, for instance, and the scale thing. I've slowly been giving my Rainwings more and more different horn shapes, which works really well if I'm headcanoning the way I am. Plus, it's just another way to give individual characters some more unique features. Rainwings are fun because of the varied color palettes I can use. I'm used to using pretty vivid color palettes since I learned to draw drawing dragons, and Rainwings are the epitome of colorful palettes. Another thing I like about these pieces is the art style itself. I tried something a little new for me this time. I used a small sketchy brush to do a sort of a pencil effect, and then I kept my sketches really kind of messy, and I only really added thicker lines where I wanted them, and I just used the brush to add those in. Then for the coloring, as you can see, I used a very vague, messy technique with kind of a texture brush that didn't stay in the lines very well. I also stuck with a pastel type set of colors, and all of these techniques combined to create a couple very chill drawings. I'm really happy with the full body that I did of Tamron especially. Honestly, it just really captures her kind of aesthetic with the calm blues and the messy lines and the really kind of chill coloring technique. If I ever do a Tamron PMV, y'all can bet it's going to be in this style. Anyways, that's about all I have for today. This is kind of short, but I just wanted to kind of chat about Rainwings, because I think they're totally awesome, and I always have a lot of fun when I draw them. So y'all let me know in the comments what you think about Rainwings. It's always really neat to hear what people think. Also, don't forget to check out the description. It has all kinds of good info in there, like what programs I use, what music the video has, where you can find my art and merch, and more. Please be sure to check out my DeviantArt and Redbubble as well to find more cool stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope everyone has a totally awesome week.
Over your skin you can see it beat, intoxicating your energy. First time in so long you felt the heat. Evaporate.